Yes, so far the banking sector has been fairly supportive of the livestock sector growth. 5 years ago, we were producing and consuming, for example, in the broiler industry, about 7 to 8 kgs per person per year. We are now at about 13 kgs per person per year. So that tremendous growth has been supported not only through equity investment by the companies that are voting with their wallets on the future of Zimbabwe's agricultural sector and agricultural economy, but the banking sector has also come with innovative financing arrangements, particularly in the area of working capital. We've also seen tremendous support from RBZ and Ministry of Finance. Whenever, for example, there is a major crisis, remember the avian flu outbreak, government and our companies came together, structured a financing arrangement that left no footprint on the fiscus, but at the same time stimulated recovery in a record time and cured the ills of avian influenza in Zimbabwe. Whereas in South Africa, which is probably a more sophisticated financial sector, they are still suffering from avian influenza out there. So we need to applaud the partnership between government and private sector, as well as the farming community, in working together to find permanent solution in terms of financing of livestock development, as well as taking care of transboundary diseases such as avian influenza. Indeed, and this is why we are always in constant engagement with government. Through Ministry of Agriculture, we have weekly stakeholder forum meetings where we discuss these issues. Particularly from the Ministry of Agriculture, we've been making efforts to engage with crop production units in order for the policies to focus at increasing productivity, reducing the cost per ton of maize. We know that the Zambians can produce maize at $160 per metric ton. In South Africa at $180, $200 per metric ton. We also should be able to do the same. It's not just on the cost, on the dollar side, but also on the productivity side. Our average productivity, for example, irrigated maize, we are told is about 5.5, 6. We already know that irrigated maize in South Africa and in Zambia is at 12, 15 metric tons per hectare, using the same package of fertilizer, seeds, water, and electricity. So in terms of technical efficiencies, we are engaging with the ministry to say, let's shift our focus from distribution of inputs, which is a complementary issue, to training our farmers so that they master the ABCs of efficient production and optimization of productivity of, in terms of maize yields, in terms of soybean yields. When we convert the increased yields, we should be able to reduce cost and rein on the food cost inflation in Zimbabwe. That's one area that we're engaging with the Ministry of Agriculture around. Yes. Then with the Ministry of Finance and the Economic Development component, we talk a lot about macroeconomic stability. For our demand for animal proteins, milk, eggs, meat to go up and remain viable support of our sector, we need the income, per capita income of our workers and of our civil servants to be commensurate with the cost of living. As you know, when people do not have enough money to pay fees, they do not think about eating sadza and nyama. They would rather eat sadza without the nyama. We're in the business of protein security, which is fundamental for the long-term development of the cognitive abilities of all Zimbabwean youths and children being born today. Just like us, we grew up in the 80s, we're eating healthy and drinking a glass of milk at school. We want that to return. So we're engaging with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development to say we need to reduce cost of financing our production, stimulate growth, so that once again we can provide every child in Zimbabwe with a glass of milk and an egg plus bacon every other day. Yeah. Perhaps ultimately every day. For now, we can settle for every other day.
In terms of breeding, what's the capacity within that
breeding sector? Yeah. If we look at the investment that the private sector has put into breeding, it's actually very impressive. in the area of poultry production, in the area of pork production, and to some extent now, we are seeing tremendous investments in the area of heifer multiplication for dairy production growth. These are medium to long-term investments that require stability and a belief and confidence in the future of Zimbabwe's agriculture and the economy. In the broiler sector, we have seen the number of companies increase, the number of breeder companies increase, and this is very commendable. In the area of dairy, we are seeing tremendous move to invest more in new dairy facilities, large dairy facilities, particularly in the Midlands area there, and all areas around the Highveld, which is really a high potential area for production of dairy milk. Zimbabwe, I'm sure, is on the right path to become self-sufficient in dairy production. Presently, we are not self-sufficient. I believe that about 50% of the milk that we are consuming in Zimbabwe presently is coming into Zimbabwe in the form of powdered milk from the EU through South Africa, and also liquid milk coming from South Africa. There's no need for that. We do have the pasture, we do have the land, we have the competencies here that we should be able to be self-sufficient, and I like the idea that right now has been put in place under the Dairy Development and Growth Strategy, that by 2025 we should be almost weaned ourselves completely from powdered milk imports. We need to be self-sufficient, we have the capacity for that, and we look forward to greater partnership between financing ministries and banking sector, as well as the agricultural ministry, to get our equation right so that we become self-sufficient. Every year, the Livestock Meat Industries Associate member, Zimbabwe Headbook, has a Zimbabwe Beef School, which attracts all the best brains from the region and the world to come and share experiences with the Zimbabwean livestock producing community, particularly cattle producing community. There is going to be a beef school in Bulawayo next week. It's a 3-day intensive learning sessions facilitated by the experts from Zimbabwe, from Southern Africa, and beyond. And I have attended a number of these beef schools, and I can say that it's really enriching, even to us, because there's so much scientific development in this sector around the world. And as you are aware, perhaps Zimbabweans do not know that sometimes the breeds that we have, which we don't seem to value, our Shona, Mashona, Nguni, Tuli, are grabbing headlines abroad. They are becoming the breeds to calculate higher fertility in breeds in the US, in Australia, and at home we need to start celebrating our genetics. And I'm hopeful that those in Bulawayo with opportunities to attend, I understand there are still some tickets available. You can contact ZHB, Zimbabwe Headbook, next week for this very important development. As Zimbabwe's agricultural sector grows, we need to close the gap between what is happening in different countries and what we are doing at home. And opportunities of this nature where we bring in regional experts, global experts, to focus on the development, growth and development of our beef sector are really very important to really gauge ourselves in terms of where we are and where we want to go. And I believe that our breed societies here in Zimbabwe are on the right path, and this is why we're confident that we will be exporting quite a lot of quality beef very soon, sooner rather than later. So we appeal to those cattlemen in the southern region to please attend this important event starting next week. Thank you.